Oh, he's getting it now.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Heavy Metal Customs. We are back on our 74 F100 truck. Casey's currently working on the engine rebuild. Catch up and got all the new rod bolts, the ARPs, have them installed. He has installed all the pistons. And now what he's doing, the way Casey does it, he'll install all the pistons, hand tighten, and then go back, take the nuts off, then put the anti-seize on it, which is, what is that stuff?
ARPs. Ultra torque?
Yeah, some stuff that comes in the ARP box that you use it on the thread, so probably pretty good stuff. But that's where we're at, and he's about to get that done. So, as soon as he gets the rest of them tightened and torqued, they torque between 40 and 45 foot-pounds, then we'll carry on. Okay, so you got all the pistons in, rod bolts torqued down correctly. Now I just got through cleaning them up a set of head bolts. You got the head surface clean on the block and the head. So we're getting ready to put the heads on. All right, here's our head gaskets. If y'all would notice, hopefully y'all can see that okay. It says front. We're going to go towards the front of the engine, which means one of them will look upside down. But that's cool, that's the way they go. Now us, show them this can, Casey. This copper spray gasket, high temp sealant. I will not do a head gasket without doing this. We coat these really, really well. You see how Casey's doing it there? Let them sit for a few seconds and get tacky, and then we'll set them on the engine. Guys, I don't know if some of y'all believe in this stuff or not, but it's never failed me. And there's certain vehicles that require it. On those certain Chrysler V6's engines that actually say you have to use this. Need a new can?
Yep.
Alright, well, Casey's going to get them all sprayed down. Then we'll get them set. We'll show you how to put the heads on and torque them down. Alright, you see Casey got that gasket done. He let it set and sticky up for a few minutes. Now he's ready for the head. You got that, cowboy?
I hope so.
It's not heavy.
Yeah. Not heavy at all.
Think about it, guys. When you put the head on, put it on right. Don't just slap it on there and slide it around. So Casey set it down easy, and it's right where it's supposed to be, because you had them notches right there that line up. Now his bolts, like I say, he's already put lube on his bolts.
Yeah.
Yes. Cleaned them off and lubed them. Now get all of them dropped in, and then he's going to hand tighten them. We'll show you that, and we'll show you the torque sequence and the numbers. All right, guys, I run the bolts down with the electric ratchet, and we have torque specifications here. The intake bolts, which are the long ones Casey's just done, go to 80 foot-pounds. And the shorter bolts down here on the exhaust side, they go to 70. And there is a torque sequence, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're going to follow that torque sequence. But what Casey's doing it first, he's doing them all, the top ones at 40, and he's going to do the bottoms at 35, then we'll take them to 70 and 80. Alright, now we'll do the full 70 and 80. That's it. Helps when you have two people, two torque wrenches. And if y'all noticed, we went nice, smooth, and slow on that. Don't jerk it. You'll get a false reading on your torque wrench. Now, all of them are torqued, right? No. We're going to go back over and check every one of them now that we already done the sequence and be just 150% sure. progress has been made. Timing chain, timing cover, water pumps on, oil pump assembly and screens on, and the oil pan's on. Now what we're going to do is a little more cleanup, of course, as we go. And about ready to start taping off some stuff. We got to get this section here painted before we put the intake on, or we won't be able to get no paint down there. I've done cleaned the intake, flipped it upside down, got the front of that painted. Same way with harmonic balancer. I got the rear of it painted so it can go on as well. But yeah, number progress. And there we have it, guys. I got the basic motor assembled. Yeah, I still got to put the push rods and rocker arms in. Yes, I remember to put the lifters in before I put the intake on. Yeah, that would have sucked, wouldn't it? But yeah, that's the Ford blue paint that he brought. Not looking too bad. Sorry about the background noise, that's the heater. And I got to pull it right over here because I got the block warmed up. So the paint would stick and hopefully this paint would dry fairly quick. Got some more stuff put on. Motor mounts, carbonator.
What's a carbonator?
It's a carbonator. Carburetor. No, it's not a carter. I don't even know what it is. Fuel delivery device. Good enough. Harmonic balancer's on. That's top dead center. And that mark is 10 degrees. That's where our timing sets. I've got a fuel pump on and a Motorcraft oil filter on. So yeah, we're rocking and rolling. Ground cable back there. So tomorrow we're talking what? Putting the headers on, the rest of the valve train, and then the front end accessories, right?
Yep.
Alright, tomorrow's another day. Alright guys, we pretty much got everything together where we want it. I've left the distributor out because I'm going to run my tool down there with the drill to get some oil pressure up. But still got the push rods and rocker arms over there soaking, to get them clean. But everything else is pretty much there. We need some header bolts. We've got them sitting on there so we know what's going on. Besides that, we're good. So now, we're going to go ahead and put all the chrome goodies on. Chrome and the stainless steel goodies on. I think we can do this and then drop the motor in. It's a lot easier out here. Of course, I'm going to start with the most complicated one. And that's the crank pulley. That's the hard one. I'll do this hard one in case you can do the other easy one. And that's how you do this one. Just 4 bolts and tighten it up. Alright guys, bottom pulley's done. Now we're going to move on to the power steering pump. Alright, here's what we've come across so far. Yeah, it took a little bit to figure out. You got to put this AC bracket on first. Then you put your power steering on it. Here was the deal on this one, the problem we've run across. This bracket, by the directions, is supposed to go this bolt under here with a spacer. When that come in that far, power steering pump, it's hit the fuel pump. So we changed it out to here, and that seems like it's going to work just fine. The only other issue we run into, this long supplied bolt here was too long. So we had to put a couple washers on it so that it would tighten up. There we have it guys, that's pretty much the way it's going to roll. Got a little bit of fine tuning to be 100% sure everything's lined up perfect. Now the power steering pump's just a shade off. So a shim here and there. But you get the general idea of how this functions and works. It does look pretty cool. Like I say, I had to move that piece on the power steering pump, and I'm glad I did, because if it would have went inwards, where the pump would have been in closer to the left, then we never would have got the cap off. And that's another thing. You see where it is right there? Of course, it'll come out some more. It'll come out more this way, and you can barely get the cap on and off to check your fluid or fill it, because the AC compressor's in the way. So if you use one of these systems, like I say, the directions are terrible. You got to figure out some stuff for yourself. Carefully measure your spacers and your bolts and just roll with it. But if your AC make sure to extend that power steering pump out so that you can at least get to it, put some fluid in. Well, cool. Let's carry on. Well, here's where we're at. We've got everything done that we can do right now. We'll get the rocker arms on once we get them in there. We've got to get them cleaned, and the water's frozen. But Casey come in, he got the header bolt, so we got that done. He's got the flying wheel on and the spacer. Looks good, looks good. That's everything we can do for now. Yeah, let y'all get another good look at this thing before it finally goes in, because there'll be some of it you won't be able to see. But yeah, looking good. We've got to get an oil line kit so that we can stop that up to get our oil pressure. We can do that in the truck. But yeah, we're ready to rock. We're ready to rock. Engine is sitting in there, sitting on the mounts. We need to put some bolts on it. That would help. There's some nuts on the bolts. But yeah, that's what we're fixing to do. We're fixing to raise her up. Well, it looks good in there, don't it? And get to hooking everything up. Alright guys, I think we've got pretty much everything underneath. Drive shaft's in. We've got speedometer cable. We've got transmission lines, just got them on. All the bolts in the bell housing. The torque converter nuts. Got the starter wire. Shifter, kick down lever. The plate that goes over the transmission part there. The only thing we're lacking is the vacuum line for the modulator, and I think it'll come in from top. Because that, except for the vacuum line, it's everything underneath except for the exhaust, right? All right, we got to find some flanges, and then we're going to go and run 2 front pipes and mufflers. Of course, the tailpipes are fantastic. I only put them on a couple of years ago. They still look new. But yeah, I think that's good as sewed up underneath. We'll get that vacuum line on. Besides that, it's time to go up top. Well, as you can see, progress is really coming along well. The blend valve covers really look nice on there. We don't lack a whole lot to get this thing fired up. Everything underneath is done, including the exhaust on the head. We've got the dual exhaust done on there. Yeah, man, it turned out good. So, we're going to try to get this thing buttoned up, and then see if she'll crank up and run well. Doing a recheck on everything, and everything's looking good. We don't have any leaking seals that we replaced. Everything's in line, nothing's hitting the exhaust. Everything's hooked up properly. Yeah, I'm checking up here, no leaks on anything. Well, it does look good, don't it? You always recheck everything, guys. Better safe than sorry. You don't see no leaks, no nothing. You can see here, there's supposed to be an extra ground wire on that alternator tab. Looped it around here. goes on the same ground as the battery negative. We've got everything, almost everything done. All the fluids are full and everything's looking righteous. Under hood, everything's looking fantastic. We've got everything hooked up and everything is working properly. Actually, it sounds really good. We fired this up late last night, set the timing, checked the carb, blah, blah, blah. And so far, so good, except for that carb there. I think there may be a little something wrong with it. Besides, we got a shade of gas leaking out of the throttle shaft. But the customer said, don't worry about it. Is what it is. If he's going to buy a carb, he'll just buy one and throw it on later. Did not hook up the air conditioning. He's going to have to get some more fittings made to be able to go on to that smaller threaded pump design. But yeah, everything is just as cool as could be. The only thing we're going to do now, when we put the plugs in, we set them at 35 gap. That's what it called for on this engine. But I wasn't thinking. We got the Petronics ignition, which is electronic ignition set up, and we got this flamethrower coil from Petronics. So, according to them, we should take that gap to 40. They say anywhere from 35 to 45, but I think 40, we can get a little bit more gap out of them plugs and get a better burn. So, as soon as Casey gets in, he's going to re-gap them plugs. Then we'll do a quick fluid check and fire this thing up and let y'all hear it. Alright guys, moment of truth. All the fluids are fine. Plugs are re-gapped. Give us some electricity here. Alright, chokes set back down like it's supposed to. Before we crank it up, just a little safety, guys. Got this chain running around and holding this truck in case it decides to take off. I don't know how many of you have worked on these old Fords. I've worked on a ton of them. And I can tell you from experience, I've had them sitting there running. You slam the hood, slam the door, something like that. Dang thing will pop into reverse and take off. Yeah, I've had it happen more than once. And seeing as I'm here by myself, I need to let this thing just sit and run a while, keep an eye on it, but do other stuff too. Multitask, you know. But this right here, the thing does pop in reverse. It'll move like 3 or 4 inches. It won't go nowhere, and I won't lose a truck. Now, let's drop her down and fire her up and let it run. She runs. Turn the idle up a little bit. Looks like we run it yesterday for about 10 minutes. Obviously it had no leaks or anything. But I'm going to run it more. See, it's unsteady. I think it's that carburetor. Got a rag under there where we found the leak coming out of the shaft of the carb yesterday. So now we'll be able to see if it's leaking. I can hear a vacuum leaking. I think it's that carburetor. We got 60 pounds of oil pressure at idle. That's fantastic. So I'll just keep an eye on it. We'll see what it does. Well, it all seems to check out fine. I've got no real leaks. The old radiator's got a little bit of leak, and I mean just a little bit, but he's planning on replacing that soon, so no stress. It ain't like he's going to be driving this thing a whole lot. That carburetor's a little iffy. Once you get into it, it seems fine, but it's just got a dead spot there. You come off idle into cruise. But there again, he said he's just going to buy a new car for it because he knows that one's a little iffy. Besides that, everything seems fine. So now what we need to do, I just want to take it down the road and back and see how transmission shifts. Of course, recheck the fluid and all of that. Then I'll pull it back in here on the big lift and take another look and check it for leaks. But let's fire it up. Let's take it for a little ride. Well now, it drove down the road fine, ran good, transmission shifted good. So that ain't too bad at all. Make sure it ain't gushing something up underneath the hood here. No gushing of nothing. Do I have another clean piece of cardboard under it? So, well, let's sit here and cool off. Then I'll do a fluid check and all. But guys, I think this thing's ready to rock and roll. Well, everyone, I appreciate you watching. Hope you enjoyed this series on the 74 F100. Like I say, it got more involved than we thought it was at first. But that's cool because we got to do it upright. And this old truck deserves that nicely built motor, no doubt. She runs fine down the road, feels good power-wise, old transmission shifts smooth as silk. What more can you ask for? Well, again, appreciate you watching. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you learned a little bit of something. If you would, throw me down some comments. If you're able, hit us up on the super thanks below. And please, like, share, and subscribe. Let's just get this channel really going. We're doing some cool stuff, and we got some major cool projects coming up to get some video on, and for y'all that'll really enjoy it. But again, appreciate it much. Until next time, we hope that everyone has a fantastic day.